Hi, I'm Maya. I'm a project coordinator at Another Chance to Bridge the Gap, and I'm here to talk to you today about content and content creation. So, if you're watching this, you're probably working on the social media marketing at Another Chance, and this video is to help you come up with ideas for things to post on social media. So, I'm going to start out talking about some different types of content. The first type of content I'm going to talk about is adjacent content. That is content that is related to the subject about which you're talking. So, for instance, if you're a part of Another Chance Publishing, you could post something about how to publish an ebook. This wouldn't necessarily be something that we at Another Chance had made. It could be a link to something someone else has posted. It just has to be related to your subject. Another type of content is tips and tricks. These can be specifically related to Another Chance. For instance, if you go to this article, it will explain this for you. Or it could be tips and tricks more generally related to your subject. Another type of content is response content. This is content directly responding to something going on in the community or in the subject that you are talking about. So, for instance, taking the example of Another Chance Publishing again, if there's, say, a major book award that's been given out, you could post a response to the award winner. Another type of content is about the company, about humanizing the company. So, for instance, if the Another Chance company went out and did some volunteer work, it would be great to post about that on social media. It's all about showing people that there are real people behind this social media account and behind these companies, that we are living, breathing human beings who genuinely want to help them. Another example of humanizing content would be employee profiles or interviews with people who are working at Another Chance. The final type of content I'm going to talk about is jokes or creative content. This is something you need to be a little bit careful about because they can't hear your tone of voice, they can't see your face, so you need to be a little cautious about, for instance, typing out sarcastic comments. However, if, for instance, there are a bunch of memes that are related to your subject, or if you find a really good YouTube video, then posting that and getting people to respond to it is a really great way to create a sense of community. Social media is all about building relationships, about getting people engaged in that community. So here are a few examples of ways to get people engaged. For instance, you can ask for help. If there is a problem going on at Another Chance that you're not sure how to solve, reaching out to people in the community is a completely valid way to solve that problem. So, for instance, if you are not sure what design you like best for a project going on at Another Chance, you can post them to social media and ask people for their input. This will not only get people involved, but it will give you some really good feedback as to what design works best. Second way to create engagement is to monitor and listen. This means, especially on Facebook groups, looking at what people are saying to each other and listening to what they're saying to you. It means getting involved in conversations. It's absolutely like building a relationship in real life. It really takes listening. Third way to build engagement is, well, this isn't totally a way to build engagement, it's just a trick to keep people from getting angry at you. It's keep it simple and relevant. Now, I'm not saying never post a cute cat video. Posting a cute cat video can absolutely be the way to go. But don't post nothing but cute cat videos. Keep it relevant to your subject. Make sure that you're reaching out to the people who are a natural part of your community. Keep it simple. Tweets are short, Facebook posts are short. Keep everything to a readable level. Remember, a lot of people are going to be scrolling through this stuff on their phones and they don't want to see a wall of text. Keep it short, sweet, and relevant. Another way to build engagement is to so-called gamify something. That means basically turning something into a game. Offer prizes for the person to come up with the best solution to a problem. Make things a game, make them a competition. Another way to promote engagement, and this is engagement across all social media accounts, is to cross-promote regularly. That doesn't mean we post something on the blog and it shows up everywhere else. We're not trying to be irritating about this. Just make sure that if someone knows about our blog, they also know about our Facebook group. If someone knows about the Facebook group, they also know about our Twitter account, and so on and so forth. Make sure that each account is a presence on the others. So how often should you share content? Well, there's no real hard and fast rule for this. You want to keep people checking in regularly, but you don't want to annoy them. For instance, Twitter tweets have a really fast turnover rate because other people will be posting and they'll be pushing your tweet down the line. On the other hand, something like Facebook, you really don't want to post too often because you are going to be sending people notifications, some people will be getting emails, and you really don't want to be clogging up their inbox. But don't worry too much about it. Just keep in mind, what do you like from channels you follow? What do you like from Twitter accounts you follow? You can probably tell just from personal experience what's too much and what's enough. So, how do you succeed in engaging with people? Now, once again, there aren't any hard and fast rules for this, but here are a few things that will make you more likely to really be able to build quality relationships with people. The first rule, and this is the most important, is just to show up. Be there. Be a presence on social media. If someone has commented on our post, we want to comment back. We want to be engaging every person we can. Now, hopefully we'll reach a point where there are too many people engaging with us for us to be able to pull this off, but until then, every single time someone pokes you on social media, you poke back. The second rule is to be authentic. We've talked about this before. It's just about being aware of who we are and who we are not. Another common mistake in social media is to get angry with people for going off topic. If, for instance, you're on the legal Facebook group and someone starts a thread that says, "Post a picture of your puppy," don't shut that down. That's absolutely what we want. They are building a community, they're reaching out to the other people there. It is totally fine to go off topic. It's all about connecting emotionally with other people. The next rule of succeeding with engagement is to simply add value. This just means don't post just for the sake of posting. Now, sometimes, inevitably, it's going to feel like you're doing that, but as much as you can, try and make sure that what you post adds some value to the reader. For instance, if you can't think of anything else, posting a picture of a cute puppy is totally fine because it adds a little bit of happiness to the reader. However, this person is probably following you because they were interested in the specific topic of your social media account. So, as much as it's okay to post pictures of puppies on, for instance, the publishing social media account, really most of your posts should be about books or publishing. Next rule of succeeding with engagement is to simply be welcoming. Now, this sounds really obvious, but it's actually surprising how often internet communities stop welcoming outsiders. If you've built a really close-knit community with some really amazing engagement, it can be very tempting to shut out people who aren't already a part of the group. But you want everyone. You want anyone who's interested to be able to come in and join the conversation and to be welcomed. Now, I have 2 warnings about common mistakes people make when it comes to social media posts. The first one, just be aware of social media etiquette. That means, for instance, on Twitter, not retweeting things without crediting someone else. Or it means not popping up in the middle of someone else's Facebook comments and posting a little advertisement. It just means following the etiquette that tends to be followed in these social media sites. Now, don't worry, there aren't a ton of unwritten rules that you've never heard of. It's really just a matter of being polite. The second mistake people make on social media is not keeping track of current events. Now, this might mean current events in the specific target market that you are talking to, or it might mean current events in the world at large. The people in this group are probably going to be well informed about what's going on. That's why they've decided to join your group. You need to be just as well informed as they are. You need to be able to join in the conversation. Not only that, it's surprisingly easy to say something really dumb if you don't know what's going on. Now, I don't want to scare you. I don't mean to say you're gonna open your mouth and just 99.9% of the time, you're gonna be fine. It's that 1% of the time that it goes really badly that we just need you to keep informed about to try and minimize the chance of this happening. If, for instance, I don't know, there's a massive earthquake in Canada, the last thing you want to do is have a pre-scheduled tweet that says something like, "Oh my gosh, this book was so good, it rocked my world." See, it's little stuff like that. You just want to make sure you're well informed, just to make sure you don't accidentally send out the world's worst timed tweet and get the whole place in a bit of trouble. So now that I've talked about what not to do, and that didn't take too long, did it? I hope it wasn't that scary. It's just a matter of common sense for the most part. I'm going to talk to you about a few things you should be doing. So here are some guidelines for posts specifically for Another Chance. First thing, run everything through spell check and Grammarly. We want to have a certain level of professionalism evident in our posts. Doesn't mean you can't use slang or be casual, doesn't mean you can't throw in the occasional emoji. It just means if there are mistakes in the spelling and grammar, we want to make sure they're on purpose. So before you schedule any tweets to go out, run them through a spell check just to make sure. Second guideline for Another Chance posts, be friendly. Be open to other people, listen to what they're saying. This is absolutely common sense, but just be a nice person when you're on social media. There are too many mean people on the internet. Be one of the nice ones. Just by the way, I'm sure you weren't going to do this anyway, but please don't cuss or be vulgar using the Another Chance social media sites. You're acting as a representative for us, and we're really not trying to cuss people out. Okay, now I'm going to talk about some brainstorming techniques for coming up with content and posts. The first and most important thing is to keep in mind what you are trying to do. What is your goal? What problem are you solving? Try and think about what kind of community you're trying to get involved with Another Chance. Put yourself in their shoes. Next, you have to think about what kind of resources you have. If you think that it would be phenomenal, you've got the best idea, you have the script, it'll be great to film $1 million commercial in the Grand Canyon starring Brad Pitt, that's fantastic. We don't have those resources. So think about what resources you have access to. If you're on Instagram but you don't own a fancy camera, do some research into phone photography. If you're on Twitter and you can only use 140 characters, don't try and post a whole ebook on there. Start trying to pull quotes. Take advantage of the limitations of each social media site and think about what resources you have access to in order to create content for that site specifically. You need to sit down, you need to think about the kinds of people you're trying to reach. You really need to put yourself in their shoes. And you need to think about what they would find interesting. You need to think about what you find interesting. Hopefully you're already interested in the subject about which you're going to be talking on social media, so the things that you find interesting, your target market will find interesting as well. Okay, so now for just a few tips for the creative process. One of the first things you need to do is get a journal, get a sticky note on your phone, whatever. Make sure you have something with you constantly that you can write down ideas in, because you will be amazed at how often you'll be going about your day, waiting in line at the supermarket, when all of a sudden an idea for an amazing campaign will pop into your head. You need to write it down right then because it's gonna leave. I don't know why the best ideas seem to leave right after you think of them, but you'll have the most amazing genius idea, and if you don't have somewhere to write it down, you'll lose it. Now, this sounds like I'm just saying wait until stuff pops into your head, but I'm actually not. One of the amazing things about the brain is if you think really hard about a problem, you wind up kind of banging your head against a wall and the solution just won't come. But if you back up a little bit, if you relax, if you take a nap, if you take a break, that creative part of your mind will keep on working underneath the surface while the rest of your brain does something else. And then boom, it'll spit out the greatest idea ever and it'll seem like it just came out of nowhere. But really, it's the creative part of your mind chugging along underneath the surface working on problems. Another way to come up with ideas for posts is actually just to surf the internet and see what other people are doing. They say good artists copy and great artists steal. I'm not saying steal other people's stuff, but taking their ideas, kind of incorporating it into your own style, into your own subject, can absolutely synthesize some phenomenal ideas. To tell you a secret, this is what I do whenever I'm really stuck. I go online, I surf the web, and boom, I'll just happen across some meme that is like absolutely perfect for what I was doing, and then voila, I have my post for the day. If surfing the general internet isn't working, then spend some time in your community. If you're in legal, spend some time in the legal forums. If you're in publishing, spend some time on Wattpad. Spend some time getting to know the world you're inhabiting. Almost guaranteed you'll bump into something you didn't know before and you can share that with your followers. And because they're following you, you know that they'll be interested in it. Final takeaway, be a person on social media. Get to know the other people. Treat them like you'd want to be treated. If you get annoyed by people spamming your email with ads, don't spam people's emails with ads. If you get annoyed when people are mean to you online and shut you out of groups, don't be mean to people online, don't shut them out of groups. Be kind, be there, be present, and welcome people into your community. It's the best way to become a social media success.